Hello students, this is Purnima Tyagi here and today I'm going to explain you the remaining part of debate, which is our last topic of short writing skills. Student, debate is very important in our life. Maybe now you are thinking how it is very important, how it is very useful. I will tell you. In every field of your life, you have to prove yourself best. You should know to define yourself. How will you learn all this? Yes, through debate you will learn all these things. Because debate provides you a platform where you can express yourself, where you can learn to give presentation, which is very necessary for your life. The students who want to crack the competitive exams like GMAIN, Advanced, NEET, RAS, RJS, IAS, so they are required to crack the interview also. And for this purpose, debate is very important because from here you will learn how to present yourself, how to give the presentation, how to express your views. So students, your views expression in front of somebody else, it's a very important part, and through debate you will learn that. So let's go for the visualization. Let's see tips for debate writing. The first and the foremost step is to choose the side, whether you want to write or against the motion. Always try to select the side you personally want to support and have more material information to write on. It is preferably to make a choice during the reading time. तो सबसे पहले तो बच्चों आपको पहला स्टेप ये है कि आपको अपनी साइड सिलेक्ट करनी है, किसके बारे में आपको लिखना है. आपको फेवर में लिखना है किसी चीज के या किसी टॉपिक के या अगेंस्ट में लिखना है. हमेशा ये आपको पर्सनली सोचना पड़ेगा कि आप किस चीज को सपोर्ट करते हो और जिस चीज के बारे में आप पर्सनली सपोर्ट करना चाहते हैं एक्चुअल में, तो आपको हमेशा उसी मोशन को सिलेक्ट करना चाहिए, क्योंकि उससे क्या होगा, आपका जो प्रेजेंटेशन होगा उस पर्टिकुलर स्किल के लिए वो बेस्ट होगा. Write an outline. While you are writing a debate, so which are the things that you will have to keep in mind? First thing is the introductory part. Second one, argumentative, and the key points, then the conclusion. These are important things that you will have to keep in mind. How you will introduce yourself? Students, sometimes it is necessary and sometimes it is not necessary. If you are not introduced by someone else, then it is required for you that you will have to introduce yourself. But if you already introduced, so from directly the motion you can start yourself. Just like if you are not introduced by someone else, so you will have to introduce yourself in this way, just like good morning everyone, esteemed judges, honorable guests, respected teachers and my fellow students. I feel honored to have been given the opportunity to speak for or against the topic. Name of the topic you will have to tell them, or you will have to write. Argument. You will have to select here the topic that how you will have to give the argument in a better way. And in a very positive manner, you will have to put your views in front of your co-partner who is in favor or against in whatever the situation. Just like you can see here, the seven chalks are there, and then the person who is in front, he is saying that no, it's 5. तो here argumentative situation is एक कह रहा है 5 है, एक कह रहा है 7 है. So this kind of argument, but how we have to put ourselves right, that is the main thing in debate. Now the key points of debate. Before you begin writing, write down all the points so that you do not forget relevant points while writing. जब आप राइटिंग स्टार्ट करते हैं डिबेट को, तो आपको उन जो रेलिवेंट पॉइंट्स हैं उनको नहीं भूलना है. पहले आप उनको लिख के रख लें कि क्या क्या चीजें हैं जो आपको वहां पर स्पीक करनी है. भाई इन चीजों पर आपको ज्यादा स्ट्रेस डालना है, या जैसे सपोज आप किसी चीज के फेवर में, किसी टॉपिक के फेवर में बोल रहे हैं, तो उसके फेवर से रिलेटेड जो भी इंफॉर्मेशन हैं आपके पास में, वो लॉजिकली करेक्ट होनी चाहिए. कहीं आपके पास में स्टेट्स होने चाहिए किसी चीज का. सपोज आप कोई टॉपिक एक कहीं पर कैलकुलेशन बेस्ड है, तो उस पर्टिकुलर चीज की कैलकुलेशन, उस पर्टिकुलर बात की कैलकुलेटिव आइडियाज आपके पास में होने चाहिए. This also helps you in maintaining a sequence, which is very important, and make sure you double check for grammatical accuracy and spelling. इससे क्या होगा, आपको आपकी बात को कहने का सीक्वेंस जो है, किस बात को आपको कब कब कैसे कैसे रखना है, वो आपको पता चल जाएगा. और साथ ही साथ आपको पता चल जाएगा कि किस तरह से आपने कहीं कोई ग्रामेटिकली स्पेलिंग मिस्टेक वगैरह तो नहीं करी है, ग्रामर मिस्टेक तो नहीं करी है, तो आपको उसका भी आइडिया लग जाएगा. थर्ड पॉइंट है आपका, दे कैरी मार्क्स. अंडरलाइनिंग द मेन पॉइंट्स इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट, बट इट इज एडवाइज टू डू इट आफ्टर फिनिशिंग योर एग्जाम. अब क्या है, आपके जो सारे पॉइंट्स, जो भी आपके इंपॉर्टेंट पॉइंट्स आपने दिए, जैसे मैंने कहा किसी चीज से रिलेटेड जो एग्जैक्ट स्टेट्स होते हैं वो आपको उसके बारे में बताना होता है. लॉजिकली जो इन्फॉर्मेशन आपके पास में आपकी इमोशन से रिलेटेड वो बतानी होती है, तो उनको आपको हाईलाइट करना है, लेकिन टाइम मिलने पर, एग्जाम कंप्लीट होने के बाद. ऑलवेज हैव ए फ्यू जनरल कोट्स इन हैंडी. और हमेशा इसके अंदर कुछ आपको कोटेशंस वगैरह कुछ आप ऐड जो कर सकते हैं, तो आप उन कोटेशंस को प्रिपेयर रखिए, जिससे कि आपकी डिबेट और भी इंप्रेसिव बन जाए. दे हेल्प इन प्रेजेंटेशन एंड शोज दैट यू आर प्रिपेयर्ड. एंड प्रेजेंटेशन इज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. बच्चों, इसमें प्रेजेंटेशन का बहुत बड़ा रोल है. जब आप अपने आप किसी चीज के बारे में, किसी भी इमोशन के बारे में आप प्रेजेंटेशन दे रहे हैं, तो आपके हाव भाव, आपकी एक्टिविटी, आपका लैंग्वेज, वो बहुत ज्यादा मीनिंगफुल होता है. वहां पर आप किस तरह से किस चीज को रख रहे हो, किस चीज के बारे में कितना फोर्स से बोल रहे हो. जब आपको किसी चीज के बारे में कुछ स्ट्रेस देना है, तो आपकी जो बातें हैं वो पूरे स्ट्रेस के साथ में कही जानी चाहिए. ये चीजें बड़ी इंपॉर्टेंट है, क्योंकि कोई चीज क्या कही जा रही है स्टूडेंट, वो मैटर नहीं करती, लेकिन कैसे कही जा रही है, दैट इज मैटर. कंक्लूजन, तो आपकी जो बात है, जिस बात को आप रखना चाह रहे हैं, उसका कंक्लूसिव आइडिया क्या है, दैट इज ऑल्सो वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट पार्ट, दैट शुड बी कन्वेड, बिकॉज इट इज द मैसेज, सो इट शुड बी कन्वेड. And this part involves the clarification of a statement and the stance, along with thanking the audience for being such patient listeners. जब आप एंडिंग करेंगे, तो आप उनके जो लिसनर्स हैं आपके, उनको भी थैंक बोलेंगे, क्योंकि वो आपको इतनी देर से बर्दाश्त कर रहे हैं. दिस पैराग्राफ नीड्स टू बी शॉर्ट एंड प्रिसाइज. और ये जो पैराग्राफ आप लास्ट में बोलेंगे, वो शॉर्ट होना चाहिए और बहुत ही प्रिसाइज होना चाहिए, सटीक होना चाहिए, एकदम टू द पॉइंट होना चाहिए, है ना. So now I will express you a video on debate. Now you will see
a virus to a computer system. A virus damages the working mechanism of a computer system, and corruption also damages the whole country's working mechanism. Well, corruption is like a communicable disease whose symptoms can be seen throughout the world. Although corruption is a worldwide evil phenomenon, it's particularly damaging to developing countries with fragile economies, and nobody present here can obviously deny the fact that corruption is the only cause for a country's failure in economic, social, and political aspects. Corruption is the misuse of public goods by public officials for private purposes. Corruption adversely affects not only the economic efficiency and equity, but also the democratic exercise and the essence of public moral and morality that may ultimately decide whether a country can succeed in its struggle for development and nation building. Corruption adversely affects each and every sectors of the country. Well, my fellow opponent, here you may argue by saying that corruption is one of the 1,000 causes of a country's failure. But I say that corruption is the root cause of country's failure, and when the root cause is maintained, then the other causes are automatically maintained. Because of corruption, civil service has become demoralized, politicized, and to some extent criminalized, disabling it to perform functions it is expected to. Corruption threatens a country's economic and social development and limits its ability to achieve Millennium Development Goals as proposed by the UNO. Taking an example, my fellow opponent, you may say that the other causes like malnutrition, poverty, unemployment, illiteracy, and even brain drain are causes of the country's failure. But what if the country is able to utilize its corrupted money in these sectors for the improvement of these sectors? Why would we have to face the problems of poverty, unemployment, and brain drain if the country is able to utilize its corrupted budget in these sectors? Again, you may say that population growth is a cause of country's failure. If population growth is a cause of country's failure, then why is our country still lagging behind in development, although the population growth rate of our country is reduced to 1.7% from 2.24%? And if population growth would be a cause of country's failure, why would the developed countries like United States of America take the people of Nepal to their countries in the name of DB lotteries and so on? The countries of Switzerland, France, and Norway have a greater population than Nepal, but they are still more developed than Nepal. Why? It is because in those countries there is much more lesser corruption than in Nepal. Even the countries of Africa like Somalia and Uganda have failed to introduce good governance due to corruption. Nepal is not an exception in this regard. In Nepal, corruption ranges from giving and taking bribes, illegal laws in construction sectors, damaging the government documents, preparation of false government documents, altering the results of public examination, public vehicle registration crime, revenue leakage, and power cut, and so on. And these all are the various forms of corruption, and they are corruption and the only cause of country's failure. The CPI score of Nepal, according to the Transparency International in 2012, was 27 out of 100, and that of New Zealand was 90 out of 100. New Zealand is not as supported as Nepal in terms of natural resources, though New Zealand is much more developed than Nepal. Why? It's because in New Zealand there is much lesser corruption than in Nepal. Corruption has adversely affected each and every sectors of the country and each and every level of the society, let that be local level or even the central level. In our country too, we have not been able to form new constitution because the legislature were also badly affected by corruption. According to CIAA, the Anti-Corruption Agency of Nepal, the total number of anti-corruption cases filed against the government officials in Nepal during the time period of 2009 to 2010 was 2009 to 2010 was 4,925. Now tell me, my fellow opponent, when the people who are responsible to handle the administration and the country themselves are corrupt, how can we imagine the sound development and prosperity of the nation? When corruption is institutionalized, as in the case of Nepal, there is a general breakdown of all regulatory and supervisory mechanism. Corruption erodes the institutional capacity of government, siphons the resources, disregards the procedures, and buys and sells the public offices. It is responsible to emerge out other serious problems, damage the monetary system of the country, and damage all the infrastructure of development of the country, making it the ultimate cause of country's failure. Thank you.
I'd like to call on stage Saluja Siwakuti to speak against the motion.
According to some people, corruption is the only reason for a country's failure, the only hindrance towards a country's development. But what about those countries where people are dying day by day due to explosion of war and violence? What about those countries where the status of women and children is deplorable due to malnutrition, HIV/AIDS, and lack of human rights? What about those countries where education has not enlightened the minds of the people? Do we blame it all on corruption? Of course not. Corruption prevails in each and every country, be it the developed countries like US, UK, Germany and France, or the least developed countries like Nepal and Bangladesh. So why blame it on corruption when some of these countries have achieved highest level of development? According to my opponent, a country is regarded as a failed state if it has less GDP, per capita income, human development index. Agreed. But saying that it is only affected by corruption, that makes no sense at all. According to the Corruption Perceptions Index 2012, Nepal holds a rank of 146 with a per capita income of $603, whereas in Russia, more corrupt than Nepal, holding a rank of 154th country corrupt, has a per capita income of $14,272. Why isn't Russia less developed than Nepal if it has more corruption? On the other hand, a country like Malawi, which is in the 80th position in the same chart, is much less developed, considered as much less developed country. Why? Due to several other reasons. It cannot just be corruption, can it? Apart from that, corruption is inevitable. It is present in every country. Like a seed can develop into a plant when it is given favorable environment, corruption can also breed and thrive in an environment that allows it to. Even in the history of the world, there have been so many wars, so many conflicts. A Japanese was walking on the way. He didn't expect that a bomb would fall from the sky and destroy the cities of Hiroshima and Nagasaki during the Second World War, did he? Was that because of corruption? Did Japan completely devastate into such a situation during the Second World War because of corruption? Of course not. It was due to the people and their misunderstanding that caused Japan in such a state. There are so many countries. My opponent gave me an example of Somalia, the least developed country with the highest corruption rate. Agreed. But at the same time, she's failing to understand that look at the people in Somalia. 2 people were beaten up in Somalia for watching World Cup. Such is the mentality of the people. In a country where people's mentality is such, in a country where people are dying due to hunger and starvation, do you expect corruption to be the only reason for its failure? Of course not. And even in the context of Nepal, we as Nepalese citizens, we have to blame ourselves and not corruption. For instance, if you need to apply for any sort of job, any sort of financial sector, what do? The first thing we do, make a phone call to a private official so that he or she can give us an easy access to any sort of job. We corrupt the person directly. Are we not to blame? We are pointing a finger to the government officials. We're pointing a finger to the people who are corrupt. But are we not to blame? We're getting educated here and flying abroad, drenching the country in brain drain. Are we not to blame? We, as individuals, are being so much corrupt these days. Nobody is nation-centered. Instead of idolizing ourselves, if we could mobilize ourselves together in the fight of corruption, that would be the root of development. Saying that corruption is the only reason for a country's failure, it's almost like one of the leaders saying that he would turn Nepal into Switzerland. That is like a dogmatic approach. Therefore, I firmly believe that corruption can never be the only reason because it arises with so many problems together.
Now the presentation of debate writing is over, and then I'm telling you, students, this was the actual presentation of debate writing that I have given you, and now I have whatever I have given, through that you can learn how a debater should behave, should act, should speak about the motion, which one he or she chooses, and in the verbal form I have given you. Now in the written form I will send you through my notes. So the topic of writing skill is completed, and if any problem, any query related to debate or any writing skill, you just tell me, I will explain you again. Okay, student?